Hello everyone, welcome back to another Age of Empires 4 commentary. I am Beyond, as always. Thank you so much for the support in the past couple videos and the channel as a whole. I truly cannot believe the support that's coming in, and I cannot appreciate it anymore. Thank you guys so much. If you are new to the channel and you are enjoying the content, please do subscribe and leave a like. It would mean a ton to me. And also, please let me know what you want for future content. I've been doing a lot of co-casting, stuff like that. So let me know in the comments what you'd like to see more of me doing and how I can take this channel to the next level, to that 1,000+ subscriber mark. We're getting very close. Super stoked about that. More plans on the horizon. Now, let's get right into this game. I know that was a longer intro than normal. I've been trying to cut those down, but it is what it is. El No Sabe, aka Beasty, is the purple in playing as the French in the top side of the map, and the bottom side of the map in the orange we have drongo as the English. Now both of these players, of course, Beasty needs no introduction. We'll leave his links in the description below. One of, if not the best pro players in the scene at the current moment. Also a wonderful content creator. Links will be in the description. Same with drongo. Obviously, in his name itself is drongo opposite Twitch, so I will leave his link in the description below as well. Both players decided to go for that early deer pack. Hill and Dale, pretty common. Honestly, it seems it is pretty notorious for having this one little deer pack super close. So if you can make it work, you make it work. This also could be high view. Oh, I don't know. I forgot the two maps. I'm getting confused in my head right now, but that's okay. So as we wait for something to kick off here, the stats for this one are the English are sitting at about a 46.6% win rate across about 380 games in Conqueror and above. And then, of course, through all the ranks, the English sit at about a 47.9% win rate across about 19,000 games. So in this matchup, it's definitely heavily micro-intensive. The French like to go for that second TC a lot of times, so we'll interesting to see if BC decides to go for that. We're getting a lot of gold for those early knights, of course. But a lot of French players do go into that traditional knight-archer combo with the second TC. On this map, a lot of times the second TC is deposited outside of this kind of walled-in area on the back-end side. Of course, this one is also known for trade because of just how easy it is to set up. You put a wall over here, and if your opponents don't scout it, you can have a trade just going back and forth for absolute days. drongo is obviously scouting that pretty early on, especially to see what goes down over here. You can see, sometimes you can see the Chamber of Commerce going down for the French players if they're going to be super greedy. Beasty's not looking to be that greedy, so just throwing down a School of Cavalry. We might see 1 or 2 knights coming out. It could be more. That is kind of a tall sign if you're going to be seeing kind of a Feudal Age all-in, or if you're going to be seeing more of a 2TC Feudal Age timing attack, then going up to Castle and on the backhand side. Really depends on how many knights you actually see. If you see 3 to 4, they still could be going up on the back end side. If you start to see more like that 5, 6, 7, 8 type of knights in your base, plus a lot of archers, they're probably going for that all-in kill shot, or they're really trying to do a good amount of damage to expand to get that second TC safely. The French, of course, have that boosted villager production speed, so that can definitely start to play a role, especially in a matchup like this, which is why it might be slightly favored in the French's side. And of course, pound for pound, the French Knights are the best unit in the game. No questions asked. Now we'll have to wait and see what drongo is thinking over here. Just chopping up those straggler trees. Has a pretty standard build so far as I can see. The only thing that I think in Beasty's English build that he usually does is he has 2 over here. Has 5 on food at the current moment, and that is only so that he can get those 2 early archers. But drongo might be saying, you know what, it's not worth it. Also, there's usually 2 food involved. We see some people in stone already, so drongo is going for that early second TC. Not even letting the French player dictate the play of this game. He's going, you know what, I'm just going to go, I know exactly what you're going to be doing. I know what pretty much every French player does, so we're just going to call it a day and go that second TC as well so I don't fall behind. Now, what I was mentioning is for an English player, if you want to scout in early on, if you want to see if they're going for that all-in, one, of course, check the stone outcroppings. If you see them getting enough for a town center, that is a telltale sign that you are pretty much safe for now. But with Beasty's build, you'll see the 2 farms right here. I know that was originally coined by the Mista, and it just kind of got forgotten until recently. But you'll see 2 farms right here. You'll see probably about 5 or 6 on food, and that is because you can get 2 early longbowmen to move out. So if you see that tall tale sign, you know you're probably going to be facing some sort of early aggression. We can see the town center going down over here. Plenty of villagers getting involved. Does not want any shenanigans happening. Does not want that French knight to get here in time to actually cause some damage. So I actually really like this play over here. This knight's actually, unfortunately for BC, not going to find it until right now, which it should be the end. And Dazuke is doing a really cool job right here. So what he's doing with this scout is he's actually blocking the charge of the knight. So the key, actually, this is going to be going down, right? Yeah, one more volley. No. Oh, long range. The English TCs strike again. So losing that early knight is actually pretty huge. BC's going to be going for his own second town center over here as well. The second he saw that this was going to be happening, he knew he had to match it. You don't want to be really in the position where if you are going for a more chill build and then your opponent is going for an even chiller build, an even greedier build, either you have to match it or do some aggression. So it has to be a quick kind of decisive decision on that front. And BC obviously decided to go with, well, if you can do it, I can do it better, because the French in theory can do it better with their increased villager production rate. You can see 20 seconds over here for the English, and if you scan back over here, 17 seconds for the French. So in theory, the French will be in a slightly better position, but the English also have a lot of unique abilities that make it a little bit easier for them as well, especially on this map where a lot of the kind of foodstuffs is outside of that kind of safety bubble. The English, luckily, don't need to worry about that. They have the cheapest and most efficient farms in the game, besides maybe the Chinese late game. We do have a little bit of shenanigans coming in. I'm not going to be seeing too much besides maybe catching out this one villager. A nice thing over here, though, as you can see, quickly makes those 2 walls and then moves it to the outside, so this villager will not get attacked or killed off too easily. So it's going to be safe and sound. And now these are also well aware that they're going to be trapped inside. That being said, this scout's going to come over to provide a little bit of assistance, but this poor villager is stuck here for the foreseeable future. We do have a small grouping of horsemen over here. It looks like BC is going for just this villager. Unfortunately for that one, they are being targeted for sure, and just going to be sending one over here, and it's going to be meeting them headlong like an NFL linebacker, which is incredibly unfortunate. And there they go, and the poking will begin. But the English are very, very safe in this position, right? There's not really many susceptible places for it. We do see BC's getting a little bit cheeky over here with a tower to go over this wood line. The gold is going to be very hard to come by until they drop a tower over here, or they produce a few spearmen to kind of deal with these horsemen, which looks like that is the case for Dazuke. You're going to go in for those nice and early spearmen to get a little bit of damage done. The good news on this map is that it's kind of like they have to go through this choke point over here. So that's unfortunate for BC on that front. And it looks like he's just going to be focusing on that macro on the back end side. We can switch over to here now. These builds are safe and sound. It looks like actually going to be sniping off this villager, which is super, super unfortunate for Beasty. Not going to get that actually done and dusted. And there it goes. Villager goes down before these horsemen can react. And now they're going to be dropping back quite quickly. There is a spearman involved, so they can take a lot of the damage. These archers in the back end side are going to be sniped quite quickly by the English longbowmen as well. So the biggest difference between the longbowmen and normal archers, of course they have that longer range, but they are slightly slower. So as you can see, there it is, 1.21, 1.12, and over here 1.25. So they are slower, they just happen to throw a lot farther. They just, they're a little bit stronger, so they made them a little bit slower. They can just pull the arrow a little bit farther back, and voila. Looks like BC's not just yet ready to give this up until right this second, and now there's enough longbowmen to sufficiently defend a fortified position of the English. These ones will be dealt with quite quickly, and there is the spearman over here coming to deal with it. But as I was mentioning before all of this shenanigans kind of happened, and BC is quickly going for these early deer over here, which I do like. The French do have to kind of leave their base in this matchup. So BC does have full control with these 8 horsemen, of course, but at the same time, the English don't really need to worry about food. That's something that, as an English player myself, I never really have to find myself worrying about in the slightest. It's always like, well, I'll figure it out. I'll just build another farm. They're super cheap. It's super easy. The French do have to worry about food. So the longer this game goes in Imperial Age plus, and it's also in late Castle Age as well, it becomes very, very difficult for the French player, and it becomes very, very efficient for the English player. So I do like that Beasty's already moving out to get some forward food stuff over here. These deer can even move out to these berries as well, because he knows that he has a finite number of resources over here. Yes, of course, the French can farm transition, but it's not nearly as efficient as it might do. And oh my goodness, Suzuki with another nice engage actually gets in and finishes off that villager before this tower goes down again. So another huge defense here. So some nice scouting by Suzuki. Really, really smart to keep putting that pressure on and sniping those two villagers. And now with 14 longbowmen and 8 spears, he is sitting in a very, very comfortable position and is currently actually in the lead for villagers, which is actually quite insane. BC has lost 2, of course, which is probably what makes the difference in there. But with that early TC and how quick he did get it out on the map, sitting in a very, very good position. Neither player is really floating too many resources at the current moment, so we don't see any fast cash blades coming in. But both sides are kind of amassing a decent sized force to do a little bit of back and forth. Now, both sides are kind of seeing what they can do out in the map. BC's going for another outpost over here with this horseman army. Only 2 knights involved at this point, but it is going to be pretty advantageous if BC actually decides to engage in this, which it looks like Suzuki is doing some excellent microing and not going to be engaging fully well. And another villager is going to be sacrificed to the greater good once this goes down. This one longbow over here, and the scouts actually gonna get involved as well. But some nice micro up top with all these spearmen getting so much value. Another knight is gonna be going down, and all the damage now is gone from BC's back inside. All these longbowmen now are able to free hit on the remaining knights, and they will be able to quickly dispatch both of those. Does snipe instead of the knight, does snipe the horseman instead. That's a great trade. 18 longbowmen are still out on the map for Suzuki, and BC's entire force was evaporated. Now, the English are so good in Feudal Age fights, especially as Feudal Age extends. And I was mentioning that a huge reason for that is because of their food. How easy they can get the food is why you do not want to do an elongated battle with the English. Beasty is already moving out, so you got these deer over here, but he still has to really worry about these berries. As you can see, look at how many are on berries, 22 at this point. So it's really, it's going to be a struggle for food. And now you can see these longbowmen are getting on this wood line as well. More villagers going down left and right and causing even more idle time. Suzuki is still sitting at a 1 villager lead, but the longer this Feudal Age goes on, the better it's going to be for Suzuki. Yeah, I mean, besides just the food, these longbowmen can really start to pack a punch once they get into a critical mass. If they can ever get it to a mass where they can 1-shot or 2-shot the knights, that is absolutely worst case scenario for the French. That's going to be incredibly hard to deal with. And also, on top of that, yes, Beasty does have 3 archery ranges, but Suzuki has a council hall. Right, that's all he really needs. Another engage is going to be going down. These knights do get a nice charge off, which is going to be very advantageous for Beasty, but unfortunately there's not enough DPS in the back end side. As you can see, these archers are getting quickly dismantled, but now the knights are in onto this archer mass, which is exactly where Beasty wants to be. But with how good the English economy is right now, each trade into these knights is going to be so good because they're so expensive. As you can see, the cutting is going down. Unfortunately, this villager is going to be sent for the greater good, but another knight will be sniped, which is super. 2 knights actually sniped. That's actually incredibly huge in this matchup at the current moment, because BC does not have a ton of didn't have a ton of gold, so that was a huge investment. And Suzuki still has a 20 count of longbowmen, so still sitting in a very good position, floating a ton of gold. So I wouldn't be shocked to see if one of these start going for trade, or I mean, I'm assuming he'll be going for Castle Age quite soon, but has plenty of gold, doesn't really need any more. So and also is getting all these upgrades as well, realizing that he's floating a lot of gold, I'm assuming. So just getting as much as he possibly can, the value there. Actually taking a forward gold now as well. So maybe thinking about going to that Castle Age to get a little bit of extra firepower in this army. A huge breaking point for the English is, of course, when they age up to the Castle Age timing and these longbowmen get those silver caps, it becomes incredibly hard to deal with, especially if you on the other side are not in the Castle Age. That first engage is going to be super critical. Now, it's always important as a As a lower elo player like myself, I'm currently sitting at Plat 1. It's incredibly important to move out in the map with towers and outposts. One, it's protect your villagers that are out and about on the map, and then two, it actually provides a ton of vision. Right, so now with this outpost going up, Daisuke now has full vision of what's coming at him, so he can make the decision if he wants to fight or not. Of course, he's making the decision to just pretty much get out of here. I will say 3 villagers are going to be sacrificed at this point as well. And there is King's Palace. So Daisuke is going to be going for a 3 TC build. Not going to be going White Castle, White Tower. It's going to be going for straight another TC. I love this play at Daisuke. This map does make it a little bit more advantageous to do because, as you can see, you can really turtle. Really feeling very, very safe. You can even throw stone walls over here, and then you're completely cut off unless they bring over a ram technology over there. And there's a Castle Age. We do have Chivalry coming in for Beasty, sitting at 30 and 13, which is a very nice combo into this especially. But if he does die the English TCs, they are little machine guns, right? They can do a ton of damage. Daisuke is rightly so retreating to the point so that he can get this upgrade over here. A huge mistake that I've made thousands of times is if you engage too soon. There's no need to fight right now, right? This tower can provide a ton of DPS on its own, the King's Palace, and then there's no need to engage until these babies have their steel hats. And look at that, Feudal Age Knight gets absolutely ripped apart. That is 2 knights donated for free. Daisuke playing this super well. I love that he backed up and waited for the engage, and now going to be chasing down the French knights. Now you can see the guild hall is going down as well for Beasty. Knows that he needs to get into Castle Age, get some more armor, get some more protection. Now in the Castle Age, oh, it looks like another nice engage here from Beasty though. Does catch this large Longbowmen mass out and about, and now these knights are going to get a nice charge. Oh, actually a nice switch up there from Daisuke gets the charge in on all those spearmen, so it does a lot of damage. Now this fight is only going so well for Daisuke at the current moment because of these Castle Age discrepancies. If this was Feudal on Feudal, Beasty would be wiping the floor with this, but as you can see how much damage they do to those knights. Look at another, each volley is just doing so much damage, and that is the power of having Castle Age and Beasty does not. Once it pings back and forth though, Beasty will be sitting in the driver's seat at the current moment with this exact army composition. Of course, Daisuke is also sitting on 3 TCs, so he's going to be doing very well for himself. And Beasty is now moving out even further and further to collect resources. You can see the berries up front, he's the berries over here, because Beasty needs food. And he's even on the boar over here as well. The English do not. Boom. It's nice and easy. Super simple. Every time you need more stuff, you just pop down another farm. Does have this wood line over here as well. Daisuke is running out of wood for sure. Definitely can collect these over here, and then maybe this little baby one over here. This is the next kind of next prosperous one. Beasty's actually moving in for the berries as well, so doing lots of nice damage. Daisuke is sitting at currently 38 archers, which is going to be doing a lot of damage. Beasty, of course, has 42 of his own, and 7 are on the way. So this is going to be a late game. This is going to be a late game battle. 2 very good players. No one's going for trade yet. It's a gentleman's agreement to make this a very fun game to cast and to watch, which it has delivered on both fronts. As you can see, you see that outpost pop up and all of a sudden it instantly has the campfire above it. It's because it was able to see that entire army. Now we do have a full-on engage over here. The spearmen, a nice micro there on the part, just protecting from any sort of charges. And now they're in onto the Archer. Was actually a little bit of a misclick there from Daisuke, but a nice engage there from Beasty, getting so much damage. I love that these villagers are just kind of chipping away in the background, not really worrying too much. But a lot of knights have gone down, only 7 left on the map. These longbowmen are able to pick off as they run away. So as you can always remember, if you're going to be engaging range versus range, if you have to run away, they will get a lot of nice chip damage on the way out. And more are coming this way, and smartly so, Daisuke is kind of making this outpost a little bit stronger with that fortification, and then the next thing we'll be doing is the actual fortification of the entire thing, turning it into a stone outpost, which is going to be super nice. Another outpost over here, which is a very smart move, because as you can see, there's 18 villagers over here, and these only have 5 slots per. So if you are gonna face any danger, at the current moment, Beasty's picking a great time to engage. Look at this, and that sprinkle emplacement only is gonna be able to fire one. One more knight will be going down, but look at how much arrow fire they soak in. But these English longbowmen are no joke, especially with these upgraded towers. This is a great position here to hold for Daisuke, and he needs more and more of these. We see some men-at-arms are being sprinkled in, and there is the English nemesis, the mango. The second the mango comes out, it's incredibly hard. You go from instantly having the superiority for sure to look at that damage. One by one, they're going to be going down, and now these knights can easily die at this position, no problem at all, and 5 of these are going to be going down quite quickly. Suke now has to make a decision. Does he go all in this mango, or does he fight for another day? And look at the damage being done over there. It looks like he is going in on the mango, but he can't get through because the archers are playing a nice wall on the front end side. Knights are able to quickly evaporate that tower on the bottom side, and now they're moving in for further damage. But the knights did move into the stealth force, which a lot of spearmen were waiting in hide for them. So the knights are going to be completely evaporated, at least the ones on the front side, and now it's just archers. Archers versus archers, a nice spread over here from Daisuke. Actually, a nice spread as well for Beasty, for pretending like there is a mango up front. But it looks like this mango now, while it is decisive, and Beasty's going for a keep drop behind this, which is super smart. More gold's being collected at this point. But there is nothing that can really get in on this mangonel, which is absolutely wreaking havoc at the current moment. And finally, Daisuke is able to put a stop to this entire force. There's only a few knights here, and they're finally in on the mangonel. The mangonel is going to be going down, but the keep does go up, and another mango is here to reinforce. So while BC lost the fight, I would say he won the war in that front. That keep going forward and has the siege mass is going to be super important. But as you can see, Daisuke needs more wood, and he's going to be finding BC's villagers over here. Now, if it's a villager versus villager combat, Daisuke will win. That is the English specialty. They are so good at this. So let's see if we have a little villager combat over here. Of course, the villagers can also, and BC's even stealing his stone. This is incredible. Daisuke is starting to put up stone walls as well. So no one's, there we go. BC's finally running these guys away. And it looks like, oh, BC's going to be walling this off. That's hysterical. It looks like they're going to just be like, nope, you can't get out anymore. But I don't think fully knows that he has a full-on wall going up out front. Now, it is the game of walls at the current moment, but BC is going to be walled off by about like 20 of his villagers are going to be behind enemy lines, and more of them have started to contribute to the cause. Stone walls are going up, so he won't be able to get out in any capacity. But he's going to be very upset to see that the stone outcropping is down to about half at this point. A nice army over here from Daisuke is almost at 200. Beasty is not that far, but now using the ram technology from the keep cover to take down this forward outpost, finally doing a lot of damage there. Daisuke is looking around for any more additional damage, and he could find some home over here. We see the villagers are finally doing some damage over here, and it looks like the stone wall is going to go up. So these are all of these villagers are fully trapped. So that is 6 and 8. So 14 villagers are going to be fully trapped. We'll have to wait and see if Daisuke decides to do anything about those, or if he's going to let them chill over here. The mangonel is moving forward, and so is a ram to go into their base. It looks like there was a cut through as well from these knights. A few of the knights have made it into the English homestead. They're going to be causing a lot of havoc. More villagers are going to be going down over here. Those are going to be quickly dismantled. And now we see they're finally attacking the others. Looks like just some idle villagers over there, and more villagers are attacking over here as well. So this is the power of the English. They have a little bit of extra juice in those villagers. The entire knight army, though, decides to flood into the English base. It looks like there's going to be plenty for Daisuke to kind of withstand over here, and the men-at-arms are going in on these archers in the backhand side. So now these knights are trapped. There's nowhere for them to really go. This one might be able to get away and cause the entire army to go over here, which is hysterical. And yes, that's going to be taken down. We have a raid over here from the knights. About 1,000 things are happening. We have knights now in on here as well. We have a full-on engage over here with the men-at-arms. We have villager versus villager combat over yonder. And now we have the knights are within the entire English base. That being said, these English town centers absolutely annihilate anything that's within them. But BC's doing a great job at just doing so much damage. As you can see, BC has killed 51 villagers with all of these raids. More and more villagers going down because each swing of these knights is going to be more and more devastating. The final knights have been finally taken care of, and drongo finally has secured this over here. We do see a barracks going down on the backhand side, a little bit of a sneaky play, just to get some man-at-arms in over here to do any amount of damage he possibly can. But a whole troop of villagers are going to be attacked on the far hand side from drongo's troops. But these mangonels are just playing more and more of a pivotal role. There's only one on the map at the current moment. We'll have to move it back eventually. There we go. It's going to be moved back now, but these men-at-arms are able to get in onto it and cause a lot of damage. This entire army is moving out, trying to do some damage. Maybe it might go up top, maybe it might go over here. But this army cannot take out this army, that is for sure. We have an entire grouping of villagers going over here. We have more damage being done over yonder. It looks like keep versus keep combat, or outpost versus outpost. We do see a lot of army going in over here. That mango operator needs to get his eyes checked. That was not it, and it looks like it's going to be completely left for dead. And now the mango's going to be going down, and that is the biggest powerhouse it is. Another miss for the mango, unfortunately. And now it's just archers. And now it looks like drongo goes, you know what? Keep the keep. I'm going to be going into your base for sure and doing lots and lots of damage. We can see that drongo is fully around all sides of the map. A keep drop is going down as well. A ram was able to go in over here. So Beasty's trying his absolute best to get really creative. The mangonel is just not going to be attacked. There we go. Finally turned on. It's like, wait a second. That's a very expensive piece of equipment that you have there. Does get some nice damage off before it goes down, and we see even more units are in the base of the French player. BC is dealing with his own raids over here. We have a keep drop that was successful over here, and BC even dropped a wall in to make sure that they couldn't do anything over here. Additional barracks as well, but now we have a desperation keep going in for BC. It looks like it is actually going to be going up. It is going up. It does get up, but not in time to spare all these villagers. 5 will be saved from the keep drop. We have additional engages over here. The entire farm transition is fully, completely cooked at this point. And now we have men-at-arms just running through the middle, dealing as much damage as humanly possible. We have the ram going down. The Berkshires being dropped out front, which the ram is trying to do its best to kind of kill off. But we have a whole bunch of English troops just running amok through the base. drongo is now almost evened up the villager kills and is actually taking the lead in terms of villagers. BC is fully taking this side of the map over yonder, but it looks like now we have some stragglers over here. They're going to be doing lots of damage, and then when these upgrades start to come in, it's going to be very hard. There is the coveted enclosures going down for drongo. That is the ability for the English player to get constant gold production out of each farm that's being manned, and for the English, that's incredibly important. As you can quite imagine, they are known for their farms and how good they do at them. More and more villagers are being taken down here. One last final arrow and the final shot is going to be taking down yet another villager. So up to 60 villagers have now been killed. We have men-at-arms out front, killing off certain things. We have an entire range unit over here, dealing with any single villager that pops out of that TC. We have a mangonel that's popping out over here, trying to protect a bit more. We have knights now going in on this as well. And more villagers are going to be absolutely slaughtered over here from these towers. So these villagers are just running everywhere for BC at the current moment. And it looks like there's more wood being taken over here from drongo. And another engage. This is absolutely crazy. I'm trying to keep up with all the things. I'm quickly moving out throughout the map. Another sacred site is actually taken from Beasty. So just the one left remaining until all 3 are taken, but it looks like that's being desynced at the current moment. And there is a whole bunch of English troops just diving this main TC. Another keep is looking to go down, but at this point there's nothing they can really do with the sheer amount of men-at-arms just streaming in. And those upgrades are going to be becoming fast and furious. There's 40 men-at-arms out in the map, which are just wreaking havoc. Yes, there are crossbowmen, but not nearly enough in terms of army size. It's 62 to 21. And if you're constantly being died, it's very hard to get a constant mass up. As you can see, drongo has now found this other keep that's going up, so it's just sending those men-at-arms even further down the line and just cutting them down left and right. Even though if this goes up, Beasty's going to be in for a really rough time because of how many villagers he's actually lost. Down by about 40 at this point, which is insane. And most of his villagers are down here, unprotected over yonder. And it looks like we have another engaged. 3 mangonels are moving out. They're moving out from the safety of this left-hand side. And if drongo can find those, that could be GG. We have a grouping of rams going down the middle, taking out lots of damage, and now we have a little squadron over here as well, taking out some much needed defenses over here. These mangonels have been found by 1 man-at-arms, and that 1 man-at-arms might save the day. It looks like it's going to be taken down quite quickly, and now you can see this stream of men-at-arms going across the map into the French base. It's just going to be a constant stream of very strong Imperial Age men-at-arms. Beasty is of course still Castle Age, so nothing you can really do. 1 man-at-arm does go down to a grouping of villagers. 81 villagers have now been killed. There is so many red dots. More mangonels are out on the map, and it looks like if drongo can find this cluster, it might be GG. Now we have a large grouping of golden helmets out front. The relics will also be going down, which I didn't even get to mention because of the craziness of this game. But it's just looking like this English player is just playing so well. Mangonels are now going to be jumped on by these Imperial Age men-at-arms. They do get out of there quite nicely, but even more will be streaming across the map, and more damage will be done constantly. We can see more and more outposts being put up, and we can see these men-at-arms just do not care at all about what's hitting them. They can just keep going through, and with this much production, drongo can constantly produce these very powerful units and have really no qualms. They can go good into anything that comes out of the French units. Besides these crossbowmen, we have 5 mangoes back here. So if Beasty, we have 8 on the map total. So if Beasty can get a nice mass up, he can start to really push out across the map. The issue is now there's rams in his base. Men-at-arms are still streaming in. We have a nice crossbowman back inside to take out these knights, and they're going to be absolutely cooking them on the back end side. And these are pretty big investment, and now the rams are just moving in. And mangonels do a decent job into rams, but they're going to have to put themselves into a vulnerable position to actually do this. Some unreal mango shots there from Beasty. Kills off almost all those villagers that were doing a lot of damage going forward. But even more rams are going in, and they're doing a lot of damage. These mangonels, though, are doing so much work on the back end side. But these rams, nothing really killed the rams. The mangonels can kill them eventually, but not before a lot of damage has been done. And as you can see, the orange droplets are racing across the map. If these mangonels go down, it's going to be GG. But BC is holding on strong. More villagers are going to be pulled to take out these rams. And this is absolutely insane. More and more armies being streamed out across. If drongo can just get a sizable force to actually take out these rams, it should be in a good spot, but more and more villagers going down. Almost 100 villagers at this point have gone down for drongo, and BC's killed 85 as well. So in his own right, doing a very good job. There's still a few rams over here, but now the siege is under fire. We have men-at-arms running after these guys. You can see they're trying to wheel away as quickly as humanly possible. Looks like a small grouping. This battalion will be taken out. You cannot stash them anywhere. They can't go into a keep. That would be insane. And another one is going to be taken down over here, and 2 more are going to be going down. And that is going to be, I think it's going to be all over once those go down, because that is the powerhouse behind Beasty's army. Down to just 2 mangonels, and they're over here, and now just down to 1. And 1 more, and it's Imperial Age versus Castle Age. It doesn't matter how many villagers you actually end up killing. This is now just, they're going to have absolutely no remorse. There's 2 springholds out here, but there's still nothing. It's just rams. The only thing that is being produced for the English player in terms of siege is rams at this point, because now that Imperial, so it is now Ram Ranch time. We're going to be continuing to see a constant stream of soldiers. They're absolutely doing, they're decimating anything in their path, and there is the GGs. Well played by both players. An impressive showing from drongo. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you did enjoy this cast, please do like and subscribe. And as I mentioned before, comment what you'd like to see on my channel going forward. Maybe I'll set up a poll as well in the community tab. And yeah, as I mentioned before, if you did enjoy, please do subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.